A very good evening and welcome to Primetime News live on Newsfirst with me, Mahina Bongzo.
Good evening, I'm Shahan Rampati. Let's look at your headlines.
1 killed and 3 injured in Grand Pass shooting. 14 years on since the tsunami, a father still in search of his daughter. A warning from the State Minister of Fisheries. Mahinda Yapa says the government does not have a majority and that an election must be held within 3 months.
It was 14 years ago today that the tsunami hit Sri Lanka and several other countries, making history as one of the most catastrophic natural disasters on earth. Let's take a look back at that fateful day which changed the lives of thousands.
It was 14 years ago when Pia Sena, a resident of Denipitiya in Valigama, purchased a ticket to Mathura for 81 rupees from the Fort railway station. For 14 years, this ticket has been preserved by Pia Sena, who refuses to look at it due to the fear of recalling tragic memories.
I have preserved this ticket for 14 years now, but I will not look at it. If I do, I will once again remember the tragedy that took place.
The train in which Pia Sena travelled in 14 years ago continues to operate even today. Remembering the tragic tsunami that destroyed the country in December 2004, the train stopped near the village of Prelate for a few minutes this morning. The relatives of the passengers who fell victim to the tsunami had gathered even today near the Tsunami Memorial in Prelate. It was with tears, flowers and lamps that these relatives remembered their loved ones who left this world 14 years ago. Mahindapala Vanasinghe, a resident of Hatton, lost his wife and son to the tsunami. However, he still believes that his daughter is among the living.
We found the bodies of my wife and son, but after 3 days I received information that my daughter was taken away by an unknown group claiming they came to rescue her. I plead and ask, if anyone has my daughter, please send her back home.
Natural disasters are cruel and brutal. There is no one to blame. And yet, we Sri Lankans proved that we were strong enough to rise together as one nation. The extent of the catastrophe was felt throughout the world within a matter of seconds. Going beyond reporting, we reached out to the people in several villages with the Sahana Yatra. Bringing relief to the 4 corners of our country along with support of our own people, the rebuilding process was also initiated with the people who stood up for their brothers and sisters of our own country. "14 years after the tragic tsunami, we salute the people who have been able to rise up strong from the tears, and we also salute the people who rose up to support and strengthen the people who were affected."
Moving on to other local news. One person was gunned down in a shooting that took place close to the Haryana flats in Grand Pass, while 4 others were injured.
The shooting took place at 8 this morning. 2 people who arrived in a motorbike had carried out the shooting and fled the scene. The victim was a 32-year-old from Colombo too, identified as Dinesh Iranga. The injured are receiving treatment at the Colombo National Hospital. A spokesperson from the National Hospital said one of them is in serious condition. Two armed men in a motorbike carried out the shooting, and investigations have revealed one of them is a notorious criminal known as Blue Mandal Sanka. The Colombo Crimes Division and the Grand Pass Police are investigating the shooting. Police have recorded statements from more than 40 people over the quadruple homicide in the Kudavella Fisheries Harbour in Tangol. Police media spokesperson SP Ruwan Gunasekara, speaking to Newsfirst, said the post-mortem of the victims took place today. SP Gunasekara said two armed men in a motorbike had entered the premises and opened fire when a group of fishermen had disembarked from their vessel after calling port. 8 people were injured in the shooting. One of the victims, who was at the Kudavella Fisheries Harbour at the time of the incident, was a resident of Ahungammana, Delgoda. He had arrived in Tangol to visit a relative in the area. Police have taken steps to provide high security to the houses of the victims and to the Kudavella area. Meanwhile, police opened fire at a van at the Kudavella junction in Tangol early this morning for failing to comply with orders to stop. The police media unit said when police had signalled for the van to stop, it had defied the order and knocked down several officers while fleeing. One of the officers had then opened fire at the van. However, the van and those inside fled and evaded capture. A lorry which was travelling defying orders was stopped along the Valasmulla Middeniya road at around 7:30 last night. Police said that officers had chased the vehicle for 8 kilometers. Police have seized timber which was being transported illegally and arrested the driver of the vehicle.
New ministers assume duties at their respective ministries today.
Dilip Vedarachi assumed duties as the State Minister of Fisheries at the Ministry of Fisheries and Aquatic Resource Development in Maligawatta, Colombo this morning. We request the authorities to implement these programs. I want things to be done without delaying it from one table to another. Every organization functioned in that manner during the past 3.5 years. Everyone is waiting for Mahinda Rajapaksa to be president again. He will not be the president again. So that is why I am saying that Sajith Premadasa will be the next presidential candidate in 10 months. We will then form a UNP government. I invite those who actually want to work to implement this program. Following this, Cabinet Minister of Fisheries and Aquatic Resource Development P. Harrison also assumed duties today. No, we will not act against the Constitution. The court has issued orders at numerous times when the Constitution was violated. We will not violate the Constitution. If there are any provisions in the Constitution, we will find out and speak to the attorneys. We will act according to the provisions and we are not ready to violate the Constitution.
United National Party parliamentarian Harsha De expressed the following views regarding the ministerial portfolios.
Several ministers are yet to be appointed. Many backbench leaders, including us, made an effort to take over the government legally. Therefore, we believe that we too will be given an opportunity. If we are given the opportunity, we hope to perform better than everyone.
The United People's Freedom Alliance said today that the present government should hold an election.
The UNP is already a prisoner of the TNA. Only 102 votes were obtained to pass the vote on account in Parliament after obtaining 13 votes from the TNA. They have already expressed their opposition against the actions of the UNP. This is the downfall of the government. Therefore, within the next 3 months, our country must hold an election. Even they want an election as they are incapable of taking the government forward.
General Secretary of the UPFA, Mahinda Amarveera, expressed the following views during an event held in Kandy today.
Our final hope is to unite this party, and this should be everyone's responsibility. I believe that this will become a reality in the future. There is no point in talking about national problems or the international community. If we act divided, these forces will rise against us. You must be aware that there were issues when appointing ministers, and the position of opposition leader was also challenged. We at every point wanted to unite this party and strengthen the SLFP. If the UPFA is to be strengthened, we must all act together and unite the party, and this is why, on behalf of everyone's protection, we have presented all the required documents unconditionally. The 15th commemoration of the former mayor of Kotte, attorney Harsha De Silva, was held today with the participation of several SLFP frontline activists. No one can destroy the SLFP. Mahinda Rajapaksa said that the SLFP is like the door in a salon. People come in and go out, but no one can destroy the SLFP. The SLFP is a political party which was created through the great forces of history and is needed by the people of this country. Our expectation is the further strengthening of the UPFA and the SLFP. I believe that those who attempt to destroy the SLFP will be cursed by the people of this country.
I think it is Basil and Mahinda Rajapaksa who attempted to destroy the party for the second time after Somarama Thera shot Bandar Nayaka. Basil Rajapaksa has completed the contract to destroy the Sri Lanka Freedom Party to 90%. If you take the previous provincial council and local government elections, many SLFP representatives around the country represented the stance of the SLFP and President Maithripala Sirisena. It was Mahinda Rajapaksa who contested against them. It was the Sugadapala or Punya Singha or the village representative who contested. Mahinda Rajapaksa contested against the SLFP representatives because of an attempt to make Mahinda Rajapaksa the next Prime Minister. It was Mahinda Rajapaksa and Basil Rajapaksa who defeated the SLFP contestant and destroyed the relationship the SLFP representatives had with the locals in their respective areas. You cannot bridge that gap now. And it was done by Basil and Mahinda Rajapaksa. I don't think the attorney who advised the President at the time when the 19th Amendment to the Constitution was brought showed President the exact picture. I now doubt if we did not have the talented people to predict things properly. I think the legal consultants who advised the President at the time when the 19th Amendment to the Constitution was brought should also be held responsible for the destruction it has caused. That is why the country is at this state now.
Minister Dr. Harsha De Silva assumed duties this morning.
Dr. Harsha De Silva assumed duties as the non-cabinet Minister of Economic Reforms and Public Distribution today at the ministry located at the World Trade Center in Colombo. There are various views and opinions. Some say that we should not go forward with the Singapore-Sri Lanka Free Trade Agreement and focus more on agriculture development. Some say we should focus more on the service sector. Some say exports must be restricted to certain countries, and some say we must cooperate with other countries. Despite these opposing views and opinions, I am ready to pay attention to criticism so we could focus more on developing efficiency. If our country is facing a delay and if other countries are developing faster compared to Sri Lanka, we must implement the necessary reforms. This is what I must attend to in the future.
Arjuna Mahendran, the former governor of the central bank. Arjuna Mahendran has taken refuge in his country of citizenship and he is evading arrest. He is ignoring the calls by the judiciary of this country. He is evading the facing of the judiciary, and he is doing all this while remaining in Singapore. The strangest situation here is that Singapore, while giving cover to Mr. Arjuna Mahendran to remain undisturbed, evading arrest in that country, is entering into very highly questionable international agreements between Sri Lanka and Singapore. It is very strange why the government of the day, like the government that existed at that time when he ran away from the country, not taking any meaningful steps to produce him, to bring him back to the country and produce him before the courts for the adjudication process to determine what exactly has transpired in a judicial manner. Can conclude is, in order to cover up their own sins, they are not taking meaningful steps that is within their powers to bring Arjuna Mahendran, despite the relationship that they have as two countries entering into international agreements.
The value of the rupee depreciated further against the US dollar today.
According to the exchange rates of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, the selling rate of the US dollar stood at 183 rupees and 17 cents today. The buying rate was 179 rupees and 20 cents. At the beginning of the year, the selling rate of the US dollar stood at 153 rupees and 46 cents.
United National Party parliamentarian Palitha Rangibandara addressed the media following a meeting with the farmers in Polonnaruwa.
මීට අවුරුදු 14කට ඉස්සරලා ශ්‍රී ලංකාවට ඇතිවෙච්ච සුනාමි තත්ත්වයක් එක්ක
With the tsunami 14 years ago, about 35,000 people died. The world saw that the Sri Lankans were in trouble and gave the ruler of the country, Mahinda Rajapaksa, a lot of money to help the people. What did he do? He created a personal account called Helping Hambantota. Kabir Hashim went to the Supreme Court regarding this. The Chief Justice at the time fined Kabir Hashim 100,000 rupees. After the Chief Justice retired, he came on the stage and apologized from the people. What did he seek forgiveness for? He said, "I did not provide the correct decision regarding the Helping Hambantota case." He said if he granted the correct decision, Mahinda Rajapaksa, the criminal, would be behind bars. That is what the former Chief Justice Sarath N. Silva said on stage. This clearly proves how the executive acted on the 26th of December and how unfair the former Chief Justice of the country has acted. The presidential media unit today noted that a decision has been reached to provide a compensation of 10,000 rupees as an initial payment to those whose houses have been damaged, while a maximum of 250,000 rupees would be provided after the damages have been ascertained.
මොනතරම් අකාරුණික විදියට ඒ හිටපු අග්‍රවිංශකාරවරයා කටයුතු කරලා තියෙනවද කියන එක මැනවින් මේ රට මේ සමාජයට සපත වෙනවා.
Youth Olympic medalist Parami Vasanthi Maristella was given a new house today by Minister of Housing, Construction and Cultural Affairs Sajith Premadasa.
Parami Vasanthi Maristella, a resident of Ambakadavila, Chilau, won Sri Lanka's maiden medal at the Youth Olympic Games, winning bronze in the women's 2,000-meter steeplechase at the 3rd Youth Olympic Games 2018 in Argentina. She is a student of the Kuliapitiya Central College. The minister also handed over 1 million rupees from the Sevena Fund to renovate her residence in Puttalam. One of the incidents that took place with the unfortunate situation that was created on the 26th of October was that the awarding of the 3 million rupee house to Parami Vasanthi was halted. I see this as an uncivilized act by several people to label Parami Vasanthi with a colour. We should support the sportsmen and women who brought glory and recognition to the country despite who governs the country representing blue, green or red. It is because they are national resources.
Several UMP parliamentarians called on the chief prelates of the Malvathu and Askiri chapters.
The group of MPs called on Chief Prelate of the Askiri chapter of the Siam sect, Most Venerable Varkagoda Sri Jnanaratana Thera, and obtained blessings. They later called on the Chief Prelate of the Malvathu chapter, Most Venerable Tippaduave Sri Sumangala Thera.
සියලු හේර විහාර පිරිවෙන් අධ්‍යාපනයට මුදල් දුන්න ඒවා සියල්ල අපි කරපු ඒවා
Subsequently, Minister Ranjit Madhuva Bandara expressed the following views to the media. According to the Constitution, the list of ministers must be recommended to the President by the Prime Minister. As per my knowledge, my name has been included as the Minister of Law and Order. I believe that I will receive that portfolio in the future.
Western Provincial Councillor S. Kuhawardhan has been arrested by the Criminal Investigations Department. The CID said the arrest was made over financial irregularities of over 70 million rupees. Naval vessels belonging to two superpowers were docked at the Colombo harbour during the last week. Ships belonging to the United States of America and Russia, which arrived in Colombo 2 days apart from each other, have now left.
Russian naval ships Varyag, Admiral Panteleev and Boris Putoma arrived at the port of Colombo on a goodwill visit on the 20th of December. Varyag is the third ship of the Slava class of guided missile cruisers. Admiral Panteleev is a destroyer-class vessel belonging to the Russian Navy. The agenda of the visit included meetings with Sri Lanka's Navy commanders. In addition, Russian sailors participated in sporting events alongside Sri Lankan Navy servicemen. The United States Navy ship Rushmore, which arrived at the port of Colombo on the 21st of December, 2 days after the arrival of the Russian naval vessels on a 6-day goodwill visit, left Colombo today. USS Rushmore is an island-class dock landing ship of the United States Navy. The Sri Lankan Navy accorded a customary farewell to the ship in compliance with naval traditions. During her stay in the country, the ship's crew members visited places of tourist interest in Sri Lanka and took part in several programs organized by the Sri Lanka Navy.
The flooding in the northern province has receded. According to the Met Department, the rainfall in the region has also reduced.
Over 55,000 people living in Kilinochchi have been affected by the adverse weather in the area. There are 1,465 families who have been located at 14 welfare centers that have been set up in the area. 25 houses have been destroyed as a result of floods and 414 have been damaged. Nine gates of the Iranamadu reservoir have been opened. The rainfall in the Mullative area has also reduced. The rainfall in several areas in Jaffna, including Vadamarachi, has increased from this morning. Over 75,000 people in 5 districts have been affected. The government acted fast. The military and the officials acted to minimize the damage. We are providing meals and dry rations without any problem. We must mention that when over 75,000 people are affected, only one death was reported. This was because the Tri-Forces and the police acted fast. I extend my appreciation to them. There are houses that are damaged and destroyed. The government will take steps to restore these houses.
අර්ධහානියටපත් වෙලා තියෙනවා. රජයේ සඳහා අවශ්‍ය පියවර ගන්නවා. ඒ නිවාස යථා තත්ත්වයටපත් වෙලා.
First Allianz Platinum Awards 2018.
දක්ෂතම විශ්වවිද්‍යාල ක්‍රීඩකයා සුමේද රණසිංහ.
Sumedha Ranasinghe, congratulations.
Are you the next University Athlete of the Year?
Sports First Allianz Platinum Awards 2018.
And with that, we conclude this Wednesday's edition of Primetime News. It was a pleasure having you with us. I'm Mahina Bongzo.
And I'm Shine Jerome Pati. Good night and take care.